Friends, I welcome you to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It is not difficult for you, but it is pleasant for me. And we're starting. All the characters in the story who enter into intimate relationships are over 18 years old. Here, Mr. Gold, your application is filled out. All your wishes are recorded and will be analyzed. Our computer will calculate everything and select the best option for you. We hope that you will be satisfied with the choice. A beautiful woman, a little older than 40, looked attentively at the man who was sitting opposite her. "Thank you, Mrs. Stone. I will be waiting for the result." The man looked a little nervous. It was understandable. It was the first time he decided to use the services of this company. More precisely, he was advised to try to confide in Mrs. Stone, who was an expert in this matter. "You will be informed in advance. Goodbye, Mr. Gold." The woman got up from her chair and held out her hand to the man in farewell. He responded to such a gesture. He hoped for success because his life was gray and hopeless. "Miss Mayer, we have heard you and your wishes have been taken into account." Mrs. Stone was sitting across from a 30-year-old woman. What this pretty young woman expected from the firm that Mrs. Stone represented was really doable, and it won't take long to process the request. "Oh, I hope the computer will find me something worthwhile. Will I have to wait for your call?" The woman looked tired. Life does not always bring honey, because now Miss Mayer has entered a period of deep disappointment with herself and her achievements. Our computer will process all the details. Believe me, Miss Mayer, we haven't had any failures yet. I promise you an encouraging result. And it was the truth that gave Mrs. Stone the right to be confident in her words. "I believe you, Mrs. Stone. I will be waiting for your call." The young woman said goodbye to the hostess of the office with a friendly handshake. She heard about this company through acquaintances who admired the real success of this company. It remained to wait a bit. The firm that Mrs. Stone founded helped a certain category of people, all those who could not solve the difficulties of their lives themselves because of their problems, went to her. Yes, the company's vaunted computer has indeed never been wrong. All the requirements set by the clients were taken into account. For Mrs. Stone and her company, the main motto was 100% guarantee for customers. Even the smallest details that customers tried to whisper were entered into the database and processed. Everything was put on a fairly professional basis. There have never been failures. And the customers were happy, giving the company a win-win advertisement. Mrs. Stone recalled starting her business more than a decade ago. In a small office above their garage, they decided to try their hand at a new business. She and her husband had not hoped for such a result. But, from the first days of working with clients, they both calmed down. It was a success. And now their office was in the center of the city in the best area. On Thursday, Mrs. Stone's secretary called Mr. Gold's cell phone. "Mr. Gold, hello? You are being disturbed from the office of the For You company. You recently filled out a questionnaire with us. Tell me, are you still interested in our cooperation?" "Hello, miss. Yes, I'm interested." The man was expecting this call. He hoped that everything in his life would change overnight. "Your meeting will take place tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the evening. Sunrise Restaurant. You've already got a reservation. Tell the waiter that you are from our company. He will give you all the necessary instructions." The secretary wasn't too chatty. She had been working with Mrs. Stone for 3 years now. "I am grateful to you for your call." Mr. Gold ended the conversation. "Miss Mayer, good evening. This is Patricia, Mrs. Stone's secretary. I hope you remember me." The clear voice of the young girl reminded Miss Mayer of the completed questionnaire and the expected results. "Oh, Patricia, of course I remember you. Hello." There was joy in the woman's voice. "Here it is, an opportunity to solve old problems. Isn't that what Miss Mayer wanted? You have a meeting at the Sunrise Restaurant on Friday, 8 o'clock in the evening. The waiter will take you to the right table. We rent this restaurant all the time, and they are happy with our cooperation. Take the necessary instructions from the waiter. Have a nice evening, Miss Mayer." The secretary was happy to help Mrs. Stone make people happy. "I'll be there. Thank you for your call, Patricia." Everything turned out just fine for a woman. That's how it was supposed to happen. On Friday, a handsome 32-year-old man approached the waiter. He was holding a small bouquet of flowers in his hands. They were a kind of signal of agreement with a new page of life. By the way the guest's hand was shaking, it was clear that the stranger was nervous. My name is Henry Gold, and I'm from Mrs. Stone. The man managed to control his nerves. It was too late to retreat, and I didn't want to. Oh, good evening, Mr. Gold. I'll be waiting on your table today. You have a reservation for table number 8. Follow me. You can check out our menu for now. I advise you to wait for your client and only then discuss the joint choice. You have also booked room 10 to 8 at the Sunrise Hotel. Everything has already been paid for by the company. You will have everything you need in your room. I will call them that you are going there. The waiter was smiling sincerely. It was the best part of his job. I'm glad to hear that, Dominic. The man saw the attached ID on the pocket of the young guy. Everything was going according to plan. Now you just have to wait a little bit. Hello, I'm Sophia Mayer, and I'm expected today. That's what the For You company told me. A young woman dressed in a bright dress tried to hide the trembling in her hands, but she was decisive in her actions. Miss Mayer, I am glad to see you here. Your client has already received the necessary instructions. My advice to you is to try to just relax and enjoy your stay in our restaurant. Have a nice evening. Dominic led the woman to the right table. Henry, it's you? Sophia Mayer was surprised. She didn't expect her ex-husband to be her blind date, and a bouquet of flowers lying on an empty chair just reminded the woman of the past pleasant days of living together. He had always been a romantic, and she liked that. Sophia? What a surprise. Henry couldn't believe how beautiful his ex-wife was. He also understood that this surprise was pleasant for him. You could have gone to Mrs. Stone's office 100 times for that. Have a nice evening, both of you. If you're ready to place an order, just call me. I'll be at the bar. Dominic left, leaving these two to sort out their business. You know, Sophia, I didn't even imagine that all my demands would be handled so perfectly. Henry was really glad. He and Sophia had been divorced for a year and a half. Constant quarrels and scandals broke their marriage. But Henry did not stop comparing his female acquaintances with Sophia, although all of Gold's infrequent meetings with women ended on the first date. Well, at least we can talk. We have so much in common. Sophia looked at her ex-husband with interest. It was noticeable that Henry's loneliness did not bring joy, as well as, to be honest, Sophia herself. Is your mom still with Mary? How are your parents? Are they all right? Henry saw his 5-year-old daughter on Saturday and Sunday. He didn't avoid talking to his ex-wife, and his daughter's wishes always came first for Henry. Mom calmly agreed. She and Dad are fine, as always. Mom and Mary even wished me a pleasant date today. Sophia smiled tightly. Her heart was pounding happily in her chest. You know, if you want, we can make our order. I think our waiter has been waiting for today. Henry stared intently at the incomparable Sophia. They remembered each other's culinary preferences well. 7 years of living together gave them the opportunity to be confident in their memory. Although, even in the dances that took place in the same restaurant, they really trusted each other. They were complimentary to each other. The evening was just wonderful. You know, I'm glad that my sister invited me to visit this for you. I don't know what will happen next, but I don't regret our meeting. Henry was enjoying his date. They had just returned from the dance floor with Sophia and were enjoying pleasant moments of bliss. The wine was wonderful and complemented the romantic atmosphere of their date. Did your Jenny suggest it to you? What an infection she is. After all, she advised me to contact Mrs. Stone. Like, enough of you, Sophia. Moping because of constant failures in your personal life. It's time for you to go on a scientific date. She set us up. Sophia was holding a glass of wine in her hands. She was thinking about how this date would end. We have a hotel room booked. If you agree, Henry was worried. He couldn't believe that he would be able to enjoy a date with his ex-wife like this, without tension. Mr. Gold, on the first date, do you ask a girl to go straight up to the room? Where is your good manners? Sophia felt a strange sensation. This was what she wanted so badly. I just thought we could just talk. Henry was hoping for agreement. He wanted this woman, and these were not just ringing words. Well, we can talk to you later. You know, I have to tell you, darling, that I had no one but that vibrator. Have you forgotten him? Purple? Sophia suddenly turned bright red with embarrassment. Waiter, please bring us the bill. Henry understood everything. He was very excited himself. To be honest, his right arm was getting tired, and a cold shower didn't always help. It was too hot in room 10 to 8 to talk. They gave themselves up to passion. Henry knew all the erogenous zones of his Sophia perfectly well, and the woman knew how to please her husband. It's as if they decided to make up for the lost year. Henry scratched back, testified to a passion that Sophia could not hide. But, for Henry, this pain was sweet. They were pleased with the choice of a company that specialized in arranging the family life of single people. And, to be honest, they have grown up during this year of separation. Now they were ready to talk more about problems and not bring quarrels to serious quarrels. And having a daughter gave them a new incentive to be restrained. It would be later, because right now they both couldn't stop even for a little conversation. It seemed to them that their lives had become whole again, and they found each other again. A month later, an invitation to the wedding of Henry Gold and Sophia Mayer arrived at Mrs. Stone's office. And this meant that the statistics of the activity of the marriage company remained the highest. Well, the scientific method of working with clients gave great advantages, and the help of interested people, with whom Mrs. Stone and the clients were familiar, gave serious help to the computer. And the prices offered by the company were the lowest in this delicate business. Who knows, maybe someday Mrs. Stone will be able to help everyone overcome loneliness and write a memoir about it. But now she had a new client again, and he was looking for help. He was tired of being alone, and For You was his last hope.